and this is my second Flosstube video. This will be a video about cross stitch and my other hobbies. First of all, I want to take a moment to thank everybody who watched my first video. When I made my first video, I thought that maybe, 100, maybe 200 people would see it. I hoped a couple people would like it. As I'm making this, over 4,000 people have at least clicked on that video, and I have 600 subscribers. And I just want to say thank you so much for all of the kindness and just really lovely comments that I got. I tried to respond to as many as I could, and I read and liked all of them. Yeah, and everyone who reached out to me on Instagram as well. I'm just so grateful that you liked my content and that you wanted to reach out. So anybody can always feel free to DM me. I'm happy to chat. Oh, and I wanted to shout out a couple other channels. First is Enfys from Sleepy Goblin Crafts. I will link their Flosstube channel below, but they gave me a shout out, and I had already started binging their videos, and I just really appreciated the shout out, but also I recommend their channel. They are a newer stitcher, but they have a lot of really cool projects going and are interested in starting a lot of other things. And the second channel is Eli from Thick Threads, and his channel is he's also a newer stitcher, and I recommend his channel. He put his first video out, I think probably the same week I did, around the same time. So he has 2 videos up now, and I really recommend you go see him. He's doing a round robin. He has a I think it's called the Fat Bear Sal, something like that. It's really adorable. I think it's basically encouraging you to stitch a bear, but yeah, go check him out for sure. So first I'm going to jump into the whips that I have worked on since the last time I filmed. First up, this project is, I'm sort of calling it my focus to finish project for the year. It is my oldest whip, and it was a New Year's Day start in 2021. And I just haven't given it a lot of time since then, so I wanted to give it dedicated time. So my plan is has been that at least I pick it up at least once a month. That's kind of my vague plan. At first I was aiming to stitch on it 2 full days, like weekend days, a month. Then I realized, I'm trying to get this done by the end of the year, and I would have finished it already if I was doing that, and I wanted to work on some of my other whips on those days. So it's more like I want to at least touch it for either an evening or like a weekend morning, once a month. So I have managed to do that. And I'm going to show you the pattern first. It is Blackbird Fractor by Plum Street Samplers. And I was just really, this is a pattern that I have liked as pretty much as long as I found out about Plum Street as a designer. It's probably my favorite Plum Street, if I'm being honest. I like a lot of her older spooky ones though. Okay, so this is in an 805 stitcher bag. I really like their bags, and I thought that it went really well. And I've decided, so I stitch a lot of things in hand, and I'm not going to iron them every single time, so I have pinned it to this board so you can see it. Okay. So the progress I made this month is I put in the entire candelabra there, and I've done a lot of fill-in on the sun. So I wanted to show you the sun too, because you may notice that it's an over dyed, but it's not super stripy. And the reason is the method, and you might notice like the little gaps are not, they don't really make any sense. The way that I like to do solid stitching, that's on a really large item like this, is to sort of just make like organic lines. I'll just do however many overs I want, but it's not a row of any kind, because I think that it gives this kind of, again, organic, natural modeling. And so that's what I usually do if I'm doing houses as well. I think it kind of makes it look like stone. So what I have left is pretty much, I need to complete this little gate on this side, and then carry it to this side, and then obviously this whole bird. And so I'll give it some more work this month, and we'll see where we get. The second project that I have worked on is by the work basket. It's the merry month of May, and I just really love this project. This project and I have quite a storied history. I love it just as much as the first day I ever saw it, but I originally started it in 2021 as a Mania start, and I was doing my own little, like, 2 a week is what I was doing, and so this is one of those. I had started it on a Lugana with 2 threads. It was a 32 count Lugana with 2 threads. And I, at some point, realized that I was not enjoying it, and I don't really like how using 2 threads of over dyes eats up thread. I just think it uses, I mean, it's more than twice as much thread because the distance it's going around, right, is farther. So, I mean, it probably uses up like 3 times the thread, and I don't have the funds for that. Oh, it's called, okay, back up. It's charted in MPIs. But especially back in 21, I had never stitched with silks, and, you know, I was looking at the price of MPIs. I was like, absolutely not. But the DMC conversion, I don't think really gives the same effect. So I had picked some from Stash, and some of those were overdyed. Anyhow, I restarted it in 2023 on a linen. I'll just go ahead and show it to you. Okay, so that's the whole thing. I'll bring you in a little closer. So this is a 36 count Be Stitch Me sand dollar, but this is an older dye lot of sand dollar. I adore this version, but I got one sort of more recently that's a warmer, darker sort of beige color. It doesn't have, I just love this greening, but honestly, I think this one is kind of similar to the one I showed last week, Moonstone from Fiber on a Whim. So I restarted this 1 thread, but still from Stash, but I picked new colors because by the time I restarted it, I had more of a stash. So I'm using some DMC, but I don't think any of the DMC was called for, maybe 1 or 2, but and then to have tangly thread situation, but 2 Fiberlicious silks, these 2. So they are, the green one is Woods Witch, and the red one is Red Bordeaux. Obviously, I'm using the red one here on this cute little creature. And then, so I had restarted it in 2023, but I didn't work on it last year because I started it when my cat was sick, and it made me sad, but I want to finish it, so I'm trying to power through a little bit. It's kind of more stitching than it looks. Like, it looks kind of small. It's not huge, but it's more stitching than it looks like, and I think maybe it's because the leaves are kind of fiddly. Oh, sorry. Okay. my goal on this one, I think originally my goal was to finish it this year. I don't think that's gonna happen. So I'm just gonna work on the deer. I think it's a deer, elk, cow situation. So you will notice on his antlers, the yellow is bordering the red on the antlers. And a couple days ago went to stitch them and I got it backwards. But I think I'm leaving it. I think it looks okay. I don't think it's one of those things that's obvious. And then, we got my little needle minder from Mad for Minders. He reminded me of the frogs in Over the Garden Wall. So, had to have him. Okay, next, I do have some more progress on the Celestial Witch from Stitch Sprout's Patreon. I had several questions actually about where to get this pattern, so I'm going to link her Patreon below this video because I tried to explain it to people, but so it was from February, and I believe if you sign up for her Patreon now in the month of May, you get the last, it's either 3 or 4 months of pattern, so you should be able to get the February one still. So I'll put that link below. The designer is Stitch Sprout. She does have an Etsy store, but this is not on it yet. She usually puts them out though, eventually. So I'm gonna, as a reminder, this is stitched on a 28 count Monaco that I hand dyed myself using Rit dye. Whenever I dye fabrics, I use a combination. Like I usually just play around and make different tones, and then I'll spoon those over the fabric. The threads are called for, and this month I finished out her hair on this side and then started working on her collar. So I don't know how much longer, it'll take for me to finish this, but I think I'm gonna put it down for a moment because I'll show you some other things that I'll be working on for the next couple weeks. So, yeah, called for threads. I dyed the fabric. It's a Monaco. I'll put the link for the pattern below. And then, this is also relevant. I had a new start that is also from Stitch Sprout's Patreon, and it's currently going. You'll definitely be able to get it if you join the Patreon right now. This is my progress on the Twin Peaks sampler. I don't have, hold on. I have it in this bag, which was really just the only bag I had empty. There's so much to love, but honestly, it kind of makes sense. It's kind of giving Twin Peaks a little. Obviously I'm starting kind of like the top part of the frame. I have all of the called for threads. When I put threads on floss drops, if I know I'm going to be doing over 2, I cut them in longer lengths, or 2 threads, then I put them in longer lengths. So yeah, but this is all called for. Okay. So once again, I'll show you my progress so far. I started top, middle, and my goal for last week was to get the words in. So we have Welcome to Twin Peaks. I don't know what my next, kind of personal stitching goal for this one is, but I'll probably be working on it some this month. So last time I had mentioned that I'm trying to increase my whip count just so that I have a variety of things to stitch on when I want to stitch. And so I have planned at least one full new start per month, and I plan those out at the beginning of the year. So the one that I planned for May is Big Folk Flower by Teresa Kogut. And this was an exclusive to the Kitten Stitcher website. And last time I was on there, I think she still has a few. So So I haven't started this yet. It's a plan. Hold on. Needle minder's coming off. Okay. It also came with a matching needle minder. And this is the fabric I decided. This is not the called for, but I'm doing it on a 32 count dirty linen from Zweigart. And I really think that's a good match. And then I went to pull the threads. They're mostly DMC, which is why I was wanting to do it on a 32 count, because I like stitching. I wanted the color to be pretty dense on this because there's like some really cool color blocking, and with 2 threads I think you can get like a more saturated color, and I'm happy to stitch with 2 threads with DMC. So I pulled the called for, but some of them didn't really look like the picture. They weren't giving me the effect that I like in my mind. Sometimes I remember a model in my mind and it looks different than what the model actually looks like, and I want it to look like it did in my head. So I made a conversion for myself, and so hold on, this is no, that's not working. Oh, good, we got the better light. Yeah, there we go. I've picked a few classic colorworks that I had in stash that I just wasn't using, and a color in cotton, but the rest are DMC. Oh, and I have a couple of these like vintage DMCs. When I have the vintage ones, I like to paste the label onto here just so that I remember that this dye lot might be different on a pattern like this. It doesn't matter to me, but if I was working on something with like blends or colors that are really close to each other, I would want to double check to make sure the dye lot was close enough to what it is now. But I just have some in stash because they were like in my family home. I had a few people ask for a whip parade, and I do plan probably to do one of those eventually. But that will be a lot of work. So for right now, I wanted to show you the other projects that I've already started for this project of starting at least one project a month this year, the ones I planned in January. So this was my January start for that, and it was also my New Year's start. I actually stitched on this during Pam and Steph's like Instagram live whip parade, which I think it was like 3 hours long. So I got it, that's when I started it. I got a good amount of project, and you can see on my Instagram what I did that night. Okay, so this dropped my thread. This is the Tombstone of Susanna Jane by Night Spirit Studio. The model is on a black Aida with a red floss, but I wanted mine to look like a mossy tombstone, which I think I succeeded pretty well. And I knew I wanted to do it in a silk because I was just going to do it in one color, and I really do enjoy silks. I specifically enjoy silken colors and belle soie. And so this is a belle soie. It's a classic Colorworks silk line called Enchanted Forest. This is the second time I dropped this floss. It has nice variegation. I really like it. It's subtle, but it's giving, you know, like mossy, old, grungy, been rained on for hundreds of years. And I'm really, really happy with the progress that I got on that. So that was just January. That's how I'm doing these. When the month that I started ends, we're done, and I'll pick it up some other time. So that was January. In February, I started a primitive hair. I love primitive hair. Isabella is just so sweet. I've had some interactions with her, and she is the loveliest. This is a pattern that I don't see a lot. It's called now and then. And you can see that with the model, there is an option to stitch like a second half to the living person version. I'm just doing that bottom piece that's half skeleton, half lady. And I'm very excited about it. I do think the model's really cute. Really cool, but I don't have the discipline to do that. And also I just like the skeleton. I want him out all the time. So, this is in called for DMC, a little bit of a mess. So this is an example when I know I'm stitching with one thread, like I am with this, I cut them shorter. And then whatever I don't use, it does go in a stash, and I'll just deal with it later. All right. So okay, this is on a Be Stitch Me 36 count called, I'm pretty sure this is Boneyard. But I just liked the modeling. I had this in stash for a while and I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. But I think it's perfect for this project. So my goal was to finish the ornamentation on the head. The laurels or whatever it is. And that is what I did. So I put this one away when February was over. So next is March. I already showed you April. That was spring hair in the last video. But in March, I restarted the Blue Flowers Night Walk Down. Now this pattern I'm obsessed with. I have owned it since 2020. I started it originally in 2021. At that time, I had never tried stitching with one thread, and I hadn't stitched on anything smaller than a 32 count. So I used a 32 count Picture This plus linen, and I actually have it here still. And I was using the called for flosses. And I mean, I'm looking at this and like, there's nothing wrong with it. I just got frustrated doing 2 strands on a 32 count Picture This plus. I love Picture This plus, but their fabrics are a little tighter because of their process. And so it was frustrating doing 2 strands. And then I had switched to stitching in hand, mostly with linen. And so I put it aside, and I couldn't decide for years what I was going to do, if I was going to restart it or just carry on. This is how far I had gotten. So it's kind of like past that, like, I feel like this is an amount of work that's past that point where it would be easy to make the decision to restart. So, because these flowers are not small. So it took me a while, it took me several years, and then I finally decided to restart it. I picked new floss because I wanted the flosses to be a little brighter than the called for. I picked a new fabric. Well, it's actually the same fabric, different count. This is Picture This plus 32 count shale linen. And then I got 36 count shale. And the 36 count, I mean, they're pretty close. It's a little more gray. This is the 36 and this is the 32. But I don't mind. But yeah, I decided to restart it. I had picked out new threads, and then waited a couple years, I think, before I actually started again. Because again, I think it's just a bummer when you do that much work and then you realize that there's still so much left. Like, there was so much left of that pattern, and I wasn't gonna have fun. So I did restart it this March, and I'm really glad I did. And then I've been kind of messing around with the new threads I picked, and I don't know everything here, and it's not all a one-to-one. There's a lot of threads here. Sometimes I have multiples. Okay. All right. This is what I have done so far. I'm proud of myself for working on the border more this time. Because I think that was something that was also stressing me out. I felt like the border was going to take my whole life to finish, and I got in a rhythm with it. Well, two things. I made a decision that I'm not filling these diamonds in. They're filled in with like a white floss. I'm just leaving them. I'm leaving the fabric. I think that helped. I think they look great that way. And then I did a lot more of the peacock this time. That's what I worked on a lot of the month. And I made him blue. It's a white peacock in the original. But I looked up pictures of peafowl, and I thought he would look nice in blue. So that's that. It's gonna take me a really long time to finish that project. I think it's pretty big. And the border is a lot of stitching, but it's really, you can get into a rhythm and it's kind of enjoyable that way. Ooh, and I decided to use a silk again to trick myself into like enjoying the process of stitching the border. So it is a lot of stitching on the border, but because it's like at the end of a stitching session, I'd be like, okay, put in one silk floss, and it kind of felt like a reward because it's silk and I do like stitching with silk. Okay, that felt disjointed. I hope it was fine on your end. Ooh. When Flosstubers say that it's a mess, like around them, like I wish you could see this mess, they always say that. They weren't kidding. I'm doing my best to put things back in bags. Sorry if zippers bother you, but I still feel like it's a mess. Also, I'm sorry if my editing is a little like choppy. I found last time that I can't really talk for that amount of time straight through, so I'm trying to break it up when I'm in between segments, to give myself a little, water and breathing break. And I'm learning to be better at editing, I think. Okay, before I get into collection development, I wanted to show you a little bit of a collection dive in celebration of the news that I know her name. What's her name? The designer from Primitive Needle. I could find it on my phone, but you're on my phone. Lisa Roswell. She tragically passed away in 2015. And ever since then, her patterns have been out of print, though they're very sought after. I mean, I think she was a favorite at the time. I wasn't aware of like this sort of, I was stitching at that time, but I wasn't aware of this sort of pattern. I was buying things off Etsy and stuff, but her designs are some of my favorites. And her daughter has recently put up a website that I'll also link below that has PDFs of some of her patterns, and as far as I know, based on her Instagram, she's working on putting out more. I am really, really excited about that. Two of the patterns she has up are kind of my last two like really wish list items. So probably after I film this video, I'm gonna go get those. But I wanted to show you in celebration the Lisa Roswell patterns that I have collected over the last several years, probably the last 5 years. And I'm not going to tell you how much I pay for these, because sometimes you might think it's a steal and sometimes you might be a little judgmental, but also, like, and I wanted to say, I can't quite remember if any of these are up yet. I know she's working on some of these and she'll probably put them all up, but I don't regret paying a collector's fee for these physical items, because I am, again, like, at my core, I am a collector, and I think that there is still a value in owning the original, not because it would make stitching any different at all, but for the physical item itself. So I'm perfectly happy to have paid exactly what was asked for these, and I'm also very happy to not have to pay that for some of the designs that she has put up as PDFs. So we can have both, right? I think as collectors, as hobbyists, it's good to recognize that one's not better than the other. But I wanted to show you my collection just because I'm so excited. Like, I don't know if you could tell, but I am I'm so happy. And I'm happy that she came to this decision herself, that she wasn't bullied by the community, because I think for a while some people were trying to encourage the family, but the family was grieving, and I don't think that's a decent way to behave, to try to pressure a family who's grieving into doing any kind of labor. So I'm really glad that that's why I'm happy that she wanted to do this to honor her mom, not because the community, pressured them into it. So I think it's a really joyous thing that's happened. But I'll show you the ones that I have collected over the years. First, we have Kindred Spirits. This was the first one I ever got. I'm still figuring out how to get it to focus on close-ups because this is pretty small. But it says, with kindred spirits tried and true, may Halloween be fine for you. And it has this adorable little cat down here who these kitties, I really love them. This also reminds me that I need to start some of these. I think they're kind of like precious, and I'll make working copies, but sometimes when you put something on a pedestal, it's hard to start it, right? That was the first one I ever got. After that, I don't remember the order, so I'm just going to show you the order that they're sitting here in. When Witches Go Riding. I love the moon on this one. That's why I got it. And also the little kitties down there. This one says, when witches go riding and black cats are seen, the moon laughs and whispers, 'tis near Halloween. I love that. I love Halloween. Period. We have Hornbook Angel. I saw her talking about this one on her Instagram, so I think she's working on this one. That's just a cute little alphabet sampler with this sort of tombstone angel. And I love tombstone angels. I have a tattoo of one. Oh, and this is my pride and joy. It is Tombstone Spots. This one's pretty hard to find on the secondary market, at least for a price that I was willing to pay. But I found one after literally 2 years of waiting. I used to see people working on this, and this is so dramatic, but I would be sick with envy. I would get so upset because I wanted to stitch it so bad. I have this one kitted up. This is the one I have kitted. I'm not quite sure when I'm going to start it, but I think it's going to be soon. Oh, and what's really cool with this one, the tombstone that Tombstone of Susanna Jane is based on is pictured on the back of this primitive needle pattern. Beautiful. Okay. I have another little tombstone, a little crescent angel. Here, take this one. This one was a little kit, and I actually did, I bought the kit, and I'm sure, let's see, yeah, it was a 2011 kit, but I bought it whole, but this is just the little image that came with it. Here lies, oh, yeah, here lies my needle, yeah. I was trying to read it backwards on the screen. And I love that little guy's face. I love that tombstone angel. I love it when they're weird. Oh, I love it. Okay. Nobody does, I mean, some people do, but nobody does tombstone angels like Lisa Roswell. So that is thus far my whole collection, but next time I will probably have a couple PDFs in my collection development, and I will be very happy to have those. All right, we're getting towards the end here, and so that means it is time for collection development. And I have a little basket. When I first thought about doing Flosstubes, I was like, oh, I'll never have enough haul. But I think if I combine a lot of my interests, that's definitely not true. Maybe it will be sometimes. I don't know. At first I wanted to, because I restocked these recently, highlight a tool that I really like to use. And so I have to print out working copies for my patterns. I'm dyslexic, and I have line tracking issues also because of ADHD. So if I don't highlight patterns, I can't stitch. So highlighters are really important, but taking caps off of a marker near your fabric constantly is a little anxiety inducing and dangerous. I have highlighted linen before for sure. So I buy these Rytec little clicky highlighters. I really particularly like these for two reasons. One, they come in different colorways. This one that I get has a lot of sort of neutral colors. And I like that because I get migraines, and sometimes my eyes, like a neon highlighter hurts my eyes. And so I don't have to worry about that with these. The other reason is because you can get refills for them. So that's saving plastic. I do use a lot of these. This is what the refill looks like. It's just you replace the clicky part. This is the part you click down, and there's the ink. So it's a lot less plastic than buying a whole new marker. And you can buy them like as a whole, like they come in a set of different colors, and you can buy them like this. I buy them on Amazon. You can probably get them other places. I try not to buy on Amazon a lot, but this is an accessibility tool for me, and that's where I know how to buy them. What do I want to show you next? I'll show you cross stitch haul. Makes sense? So I have another vintage kit that I got off eBay. I'm slowing down on the vintage kits, but I saw this one. I thought about it for a few days. I was still thinking about it, and so I went ahead and bought it. This one is a Needle Treasures 2000. It's from 2007, called Cool Cats. And I knew there would be a glare issue with this. It's like really bowed inside the shrink wrap, but I don't want to take it out. Let me see if I can bend it a little. Oh, I love them. It has so many elements that I adore. I love cats. It reminds me of the Aristocats and the Musical Cats, which were my favorites as a child. And then the sun and moon and these little like checkers at the bottom just really remind me of popular home decor aesthetics from my youth. So I really love that. I'm just gonna put it in my stash, and it'll be there whenever I feel like starting a kit in the future. Okay, this is also a kit, but a much different kind of kit. This was a market exclusive, like shop exclusive to shops who went to market. It's a primitive hair kit. Isabella does these sometimes, and they tend to be pretty limited because of the work that goes into them. So this is the Bell Frog purse. Oh my god, look at him. I don't know if you can see. Oh. I don't think you can see it oh no, you can kind of see it here. But he has a little tongue that you like cut out and put in there. She based it on turn of the century, sort of 1920s purses. I'm in my Downton Abbey era, so I saw it and I was like, well, he's coming home with me. Look at him. I'm obsessed with him. I know that I'm gonna have to pick up like a bunch of skeins of whatever that is. But I'll have a lot of fun. I really like just big fill-in projects. So whenever that actually does get started, I'm very nervous about putting these beads are for the strap. So the purse strap. I'm very nervous about that, but I read the instructions. They make sense. and believe in myself. That'll be a ways away though. Oh, I ordered this from a new to me shop, and I just wanted to tell you, I had a good experience with them. It was Bush Mountain Stitchery, their website, and I had ordered this on March 14th, and I got it in like last week. So I had never seen this shop before. The storefront is pretty bare bones, so I was a little afraid that I scammed myself. And so I sent them an email asking after probably like 5 weeks, asking like, can you update me on this order? And what had happened is they had accidentally sold out, and they had to get more shipped from Isabella. I don't know if they were being shipped from her, or she's in Italy, but she has a distributor in Texas. But either way, I think they had to assemble some more kits. And understandable, completely understandable. I just wanted to make sure I didn't, I wasn't being a fool. But I'm just saying, great customer service. I got tracking when it shipped, and it got to me safe and sound. So I would shop there again. I have a couple thrift finds. So I went to the thrift store Friday, and they had several cross-stitch things. I mean, a lot of times they have some, but they had more than they usually do. And I think probably like a Stitcher's like pretty like entire collection, a big part of their collection got donated. And it was a local Stitcher because this here, this pattern has a sticker from the LNS they bought it from, and it's in town, and we don't have one right now, but at some point I guess we did, and that's really exciting. And then also I think I recognize the handwriting on this other one, and I think it's the LNS in Johnson City, which is a couple hours from here. Anyhow, I already showed you the bears, so I'll show you the bears first. This is, vintage, classic. I like the little, like the ones, the kind of like animal cracker style, like little pillows. I thought that was cute. I don't know if I'll ever stitch these, but they're cute. And I liked the little moon too. I know they're meant to be baby samplers, but oh, but anyways, this was my second time ever, I think, finding kind of like a designer that's still like around in that I'm familiar with in a thrift store. So I found this Homespun Elegance, and I love them. It's these seasonal welcome signs. I think this one, it's sort of autumnal. It has like the crows and the kitty cat. I think I'll probably stitch that one. And then the third stitching thing I got at the thrift store is this Russian kit. It's on plastic canvas, and I've never worked on plastic canvas. I've worked on perforated paper. But I was kind of delighted by this because, okay, I don't know, that's not helpful. Unless you speak Russian, then it will be helpful. But I really liked this because her hair, like her mane and tail, are the bisexual pride flag colors. And that's my flag. Also, I find it a little amusing that she's a unicorn. So, I also got one other item that's not stitching related, but I thought some people might be kind of interested in her. I got this at thrift store for $2. But she's one of these like folk dolls. She's got a little broom. So I'm gonna put her in my kitchen. And I just think she's so cute. Okay, look at her little leggies. Love. Love. Okay, last thing. I have one book that I have collected, and it is this edition of, it's really Frankenstein Scholarship. So after getting into my Lord Byron phase, he's right here, and reading about, anything you read about Byron, you pretty much, it will be mentioned the summer that he and Percy and Mary spent where he prompted everyone to write a horror story, and that is where she got the idea that eventually became what we know as the novel Frankenstein. And so like I kept reading about it, and I was like, you know what, I got to read Frankenstein again. But then I remembered that I had the ebook version of this, so I went to it because I was like, oh, I have the ebook. But this isn't just, it's a piece of scholarship. So what this has is it has two versions of manuscripts. One of them has denoted where they analyzed the handwriting, and they denoted where Mary was making editorial notes versus where Percy was making editorial notes. They're in different fonts, and so that wasn't really working on my e-reader because I use the dyslexia font, and I was like, I just need the book, and I don't need it. I wanted it, and so I did get the actual novel on my e-reader, which I'm reading. Love, so good. I haven't read it in quite a while, and so good. So I'm reading that right now, and then once I finish it, I just kind of want to just flip through this. Like I'm probably not going to read it cover to cover. There's two different versions. One of them has both of their editorial marks, and one of them I think is Mary's, just her before they made editorial marks. And so it really is. It's a piece of scholarship. It's been sold a couple times as a textbook. But I'm really excited about that. I also started rereading Dracula because last Saturday, May 3rd, was Dracula Day, which is the date that, because it's like in journals, the date that Dracula, the novel, starts. So I started it, and again, love, so good. Then I thought I would give you a little update on our friend Byron here. I'm really enjoying this book. This is a lovely piece of scholarship as well. This author has taken, as I said, like there's 10 letters. It's a life in 10 letters. So the way it's organized is there's a letter written by Byron that you can read, and then afterwards there's a biographical chapter that it gives context to and some little information about like what he was going through at the time, and just explaining some of the references and stuff like that. I think this author is very empathetic and respects his subject, which I very much appreciate. But at the same time, he doesn't make excuses for anything. I think the role of a biographer is difficult, to be objective but also kind to your subject, and I think this author has really managed to walk that line. I would recommend it if you are fond of Byron. I think that this is a good biography. You would find it enlightening and also at times devastating. He's definitely joining my little guy club with John. So that's the end of my collection development and a little bit of book talking. I want to thank you all so much again for watching, for commenting, for liking, for subscribing, and following me on Instagram as well. It's meant so much to me, really. I have been looking for community for a long time, but I didn't know how to initiate it. And sometimes, well, I think I probably wasn't casting a wide enough net, making friends, as we know, is hard. Sometimes people say making friends as an adult and it's hard, but I think making friends has been difficult my entire life. So if you want to reach out to me, if you want to talk, if you think that we would have something in common, I'm here, and I would love to talk. So until next time, thank you for watching. Bye.